Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today, with it being the beginning of the month, we are once again looking at a Patreon request from Bladed Thesis, and today he's asked me to look at a track by an artist called Dwagie, I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, D-W-A-G-I-E, Dwagie, not sure how it's pronounced. Anyway, never heard of them before, so, as is my norm, had to look them up, and it says, Zheng Quanzhong, apology if I pronounced the name wrong, otherwise known professionally as Dwagie or whatever, is a Taiwanese rapper best known for using Taiwanese in his performances. His first solo, Lotus from the Tongue, released in 2002, was billed as the first full rap album in the Chinese-speaking language. He has also collaborated with fellow rapper MC Hot Dog. Outside of the hip-hop scene, he is best known for his best-selling single Taiwan Song, which projects an unapologetic Taiwanese assertiveness. The title is a playful pun on the Mandarin word for ode, which also sounds like a Taiwanese word for feeling good, apparently, as well as the English word song. So there you go. Very little information. So he is a Taiwanese rapper who raps in Taiwanese. Now we're going to be looking at a song today called Refuse to Listen featuring Nas. Now the name Nas is one I've heard before. I'm not familiar with the music of that particular artist. Now the song is entirely sung in Taiwanese, as I come to understand. But the video itself has lyrics at the bottom written in both Chinese characters and translated into English. Now, I couldn't find an English translation of the lyrics anywhere on the internet, so I did what I usually do, and I watched the song on mute. You know, I didn't hear any of the actual music, and I just typed out the lyrics at the bottom. There are some very bizarre and odd translations in the English translation of the lyrics, but I've made the best of what, I've made of it what I could. So yeah, we haven't actually covered some hip-hop on here for quite a while. I have covered it a few times, like I've looked at Eminem, I've looked at Tech 9, and I've covered a couple of others, I'm sure. So, it's been, as they say, it's been a minute since I, that felt wrong. Anyway, it's been a while since I looked at any hip-hop, so this has been a nice change. And, yeah, let's jump into this and see what we've got. But before we do that, if you could just take a moment to like and subscribe if you haven't already, it would really, really help me out. I've been doing this a little over 6 years now, I think it is, and not even 3% of people watching my videos are actually subscribed, and that's a little bit disheartening considering I've been doing it for quite some time and I put a lot of effort into doing it. But it doesn't cost you anything, takes a fraction of a second, and it does make the biggest difference to me and the channel. But anyway, with that being said, let's jump into this track and see what we've got. So this is Refuse to Listen by Dwagie, I think, featuring Nas. Let's have a look.
他跟一群人走在崎岖路上，他即将去的山顶，没人到过那地方。他心想的憧憬是山顶风景，从精疲得绷紧，但他自信莫名一定攻顶。沿路不断有人求他说他有够傻，说路快崩，他别走了。他没说话，又有人抨击，冬季不会过去，他也不恐惧，他用力是稀薄空气，穿过风雨，走了1-2年，山顶还是一样远。连同行旁边的伙伴都说别再继续往前，但他没停住，他只是一步接一步，他低着头一步再接一步，穿越迷雾，再出现他已在山顶那微笑，大家围绕他尖叫，追问成功靠啥诀窍？一路打击话语总是冲刺，就算勇士也变疯子，但他还是没回答，原来他是聋子。一直前进，前进，前进，穿越万丈深渊，一直前进，前进，前进，流过鲨鱼身边，一直前进，前进，前进，走过烈日火焰，一直前进，前进，前进，撑过最冷冬天。刚到涉 时我们满怀理想，希望信仰寄望，地方好比像那山顶一样。但当沿路有人诉说这不妥，主流兴趣不多，信念不够，不赌博的就不走，停在路口。当有人说要赚钱就别呛瞎，又有人转弯歌词剩哗众取宠的脏话和谎话。当有人说我的路太多风沙，恐怕被风沙瓦通杀伤我吗？没有，他走吧，太多仇家或过客不断给我挫折，叫我遵守守则，连我的灵魂都吼着说只剩你一人，倒下吧别牺牲。但我依旧脚立于大地头顶，日月星辰，我专心淡定走往山顶，从不烦心不担心这圈子环境不安静，一路打击话语总是冲刺，就算勇士也变疯子，还好我有优势，因为我也是龙子。一直前进前进前进，穿越万丈深渊，一直前进前进前进，流过鲨鱼身边，一直前进前进前进，走过烈日火焰，一直前进前进前进，撑过最冷冬天。冷嘲热讽请便，从第一天就没有听见恐吓威胁哈，再说一遍，我只听见前进在心里响起，别忘记贝多芬耳聋时谱出命运交响曲，别放弃。路途虽孤独不被祝福，我不会服输，我将攻顶，没时间哭诉，我脚已僵硬，但请相信胜利将近。百个会衔橄榄叶在迷茫里带来奇迹光明，于是我上了 BBC 半岛电视时代杂志，写到达赖喇嘛帮我拍 MV 加持，下次我还会找来 Nas。哈，你又开始不信，但你不信不行，因为我还是不听。
Hey yo, this is Nas, rockin' with Dwagie. Hey yo, forget the naysayers, we refuse to listen. Here we go. When I was just a young man, slungrams, carry heaters that gave more pain than sunburn. Suntans, blunts burn, gunman, lost. A boss too slick to ever be caught. In the hood, I was good, at least that's what I thought. In the streets, I'm taught to hide my emotions, conceal my intentions, and take precautions. Exhaust pipes on Benzes, coughing black smoke. Devotion to raps, I wrote enough to capsize a large boat. Snakes grabbing at my throat, and haters be storming, but my joy still comes in the morning. I had to listen and understand the power of words, then see my potential to get what I deserve. They wanted me to self-destruct, but I just kept going. I saw the bigger picture, and my concepts was growing. Every dream is possible, no one could deny me. On top is where you always find me. Now
一直前进前进前进，穿越万丈深渊，一直前进前进前进，流过鲨鱼身边，一直前进前进前进，走过烈日火焰，一直前进前进前进，撑过最冷冬天。
Well, there you go. Refuse to Listen by Dwagie, featuring Nas. Now, this is a complicated one for me because reading through the lyrics, I understand what he's talking about, I understand what he's saying, I understand the meaning and the intention behind the lyrics of a song. But something kind of gets lost in the performance here. Now, I have covered dozens, I've covered loads of metal songs sung in foreign languages. You know, I've looked at things like The Who, Bloodywood. You know, I've covered bands that sing in other languages. But there's something missing here, because I've mentioned before when I was looking at, for example, when I was looking at songs like GVRA by Bloodywood, and I can't remember the names of the other ones. But, you know, something I said when I covered those songs is the way they use their voice and the way they use the music in those songs, even if you can't understand, you know, even if you can't actually work out what the lyrics are saying, you can feel the intention behind the music. You can feel the emotion, you can feel the passion when, you know, through the performance of the vocals and the performance of the music in, you know, with bands like The Who and Bloodywood, etc. You know, you can really feel the power that comes through, whether it's the different kind of vocal style they used, whether it's like clean or growled, you know, and they've changed it up a bit and moved it around a bit. You can feel the power, the energy that's coming through in that performance. But you lose that here with this song. This song is very, I don't want to say flat, but it's not very three-dimensional. You know, you don't get the power, the passion, and the impact that the song is trying to portray, you know, because he's basically talking about people telling him that he can't do it, you know, he can't make it, you know, he wanted to be a rapper since day one, and, you know, all these people are sort of constantly following him around saying, you know, it's pointless, why are you doing this, why are you trying to do this, you're not going to make it, it's not going to work, and he's just refusing to listen, saying, I don't care what you say, I am going through this. So, you know, there is a lot of impact and passion in the actual lyrics of the song, but you just don't get that in the performance. You kind of lose it. You know, the background music it's pretty much constant. You know, there's very little variation in the actual music. You know, there's just a constant drum beat, the constant electronic elements of the background music. It's pretty much constant. There isn't very much change in the actual background music itself. And whilst every now and then he does put a little bit of edge into his voice, you know, there might be a little bit more aggression here and there, there just isn't enough to convey what the song is trying to say. You know, it's very passive, you know, it's almost monotone, you know, it's very flat in the way that he's singing. You know, there's no anger, no aggression, there's no passion in the actual performance. And I think that kind of lets the song down a bit. But as I said, I like what the song is actually saying. You know, he's basically going against his naysayers. Because he actually starts off talking in like a third person. It goes, he's walking on the rugged road with a crew of people. He's going to the summit where nobody has been to. What he envisioned is the scene of the summit. From now on it's serious, but he's fully confident he will make it. So he's like, he's walking a rugged road, so he's walking a difficult path. He's got his crew of people behind him. He's going to the summit where nobody has been to. He wants to raise to new heights. He wants to be the best at what he does. And, you know, he envisions what he will see once he reaches the top. He'll be looking down at all his peers and whatnot, and you know, from now on it's serious. He's fully confident he'll make it. He's putting everything into making this dream a reality. People mock him non-stop on the road and say what an idiot. They said the road is collapsing, don't go. He doesn't answer. More people show up and shout the winter is not going to end, but he shows no fear. He breathes the thin air and overcomes the storm. So, you know, people mock him, you know, non-stop on the road, saying, you know, you're an idiot. Why are you trying to do this? You're not going to make it, you know. They said the road is collapsing, don't go. You know, the whole thing's crumbling around. You know, it's going to lead to nowhere. You're not going to make it. And he just doesn't answer. You know, and people show up and shout the winter is not going to end. So this dark period that you might be in at the moment, it's not going to end. It's not going to get any brighter. It's not going to get any better. It says, but he shows no fear. He breathes the thin air and overcomes a storm. So basically, you know, he might be in a moment of turmoil. He might be struggling at the moment, but he's determined to persevere and make his way through. And, you know, there is a lot of energy sort of and passion in those just first 8 lines, but it just doesn't come through in the performance. It's very flat, you know. Like I said, every now and then there is a sort of little rise in his voice, but it's only ever so slight, and it doesn't really convey the passion he's trying to put through in these lyrics. Through the years, the summit is just as far. Even his comrades tell him it's time to stop, but he never stops. Step by step through the mist, he lowers his head and takes another step. The next time people see him, he's already standing on the summit, smiling. People surround him, screaming, asking him how he made it. Haters talk shit in his ears throughout the way, enough to drive a warrior insane. But he still answers to no one. Why? He is deaf. So, you know, he's saying throughout the years, the summit is just as far, the summit never seemed to get any closer. His end goal never seemed to get any nearer. And even his friends, his closest friends, this crew that he was walking the rugged road with at the beginning, are saying, it's not getting any better. You should give in. You should pack it in. Quit while you're ahead. Just stop. You're going to run yourself to ruin. And he doesn't stop. So step by step through the mist, he lowers his head and takes another step. So he's like, right, I'm just going to hunker down and I'm going to force my way forward. I'm going to make this happen for myself. I'm not going to listen to all these people telling me that I can't do this. I know I can do this. And he says the next time people see him, he's standing at the summit. So, he might have disappeared from the scene for a while, and then the next time he crops up, he's at the top of his game. He's probably famous on TV or whatever, and people are going, how did you do it? And, people are asking him, how did you, you were going nowhere. You were at a dead end. The world was crumbling around you. How did you get to where you are? And, he said haters talk shit in his ears all throughout the way, all the way to where he got. People were telling him he can't do it. People telling him he was rubbish or whatever. And, he said it's enough to drive a warrior insane. It's enough to drive you crazy, being constantly told you're not good enough, being constantly told you're not going to make it, being told that you're wasting your time. It's enough to make you mad. It says, but he answers to no one why he is deaf. He's not going to turn around and listen to these people. He's determined to make it. And, it says he is deaf, and I'm assuming that's a metaphor. It's like he's not listening to all the negativity coming his way. He's deaf to all the negativity. He's just ignoring it because he knows he can make it. He is determined to make it. And again, like I said, there's a lot of passion and a lot of energy in what he's saying. It just doesn't come through in the performance of the song, which is really unfortunate because I like what he's saying. It's like no matter how many times people tell you to quit, no matter how many times people tell you to stop, no matter how much people put you down, you push forward, you make your dreams come true. If it's something you really, really want, you go and you do it. It's a song about perseverance, about pushing forward and not letting other people drag you down. So it's a really quite powerful message. But the performance of the song doesn't really bring it through, unfortunately. Anyway, then it goes into what we can call a chorus. It says, continue to march on, march on, march on. I passed through the deepest valley of death. Continue to march on, march on, march on. I swam through the teeth of a shark. Continue to march on, march on, march on. I walked under the burning fire of the sun. Continue to march on, march on, march on. I lived through the coldest winter. So he's basically saying, just continue onward. I've been through some of the harshest things you can imagine. I've walked through the deepest valley of death. I've swum through the teeth of a shark. I've walked under the burning fire of the sun, and I've survived the coldest winter. I've been through some really difficult times, but I persevered and I carried on, and I urge you to do that too. So again, that sort of message of hope, that message of perseverance. Then he sort of heads more into, the first part of the song sounded very third person, talking outside, and then he sort of moves towards himself now. When we first started to rap, we were filled with vision, hope and faith. Our goal was just like to reach the summit. On the road, there are people that said there is no chance, the mainstream has no interest. People without faith and people afraid to risk, they stop on the road, has no interest. This is where some of the translations got a bit weird. These are the exact lines that were written at the bottom of the video. I copied them as they were written on the video. So, there was a little bit of weird translation as it got to this area of the song. So again, when we started up, we were filled with vision, we were filled with hope, we knew what our goal was, we knew what we wanted to do, and we were hopeful, we were determined. Our goal was to reach that summit, and on the road there were people that said there is no chance, people telling us, you've got no chance of getting anywhere, there's nothing special about what you do, you're not that good, etc, etc, etc. The road is too stormy. Where is it? you know, the mainstream has no interest in you, yada, yada, yada. People without faith and people afraid to risk, they stopped on the road. You know, people who actually listened to all the naysayers, people who thought this is getting too hard, just gave up and disappeared into obscurity, you know. So he's saying, you know, I was determined to push through. You know, other people were telling me I couldn't do it, and there were other people who wanted the same thing as me, but they just gave up because it was too difficult. I didn't. I carried on. When people said, if you want to make money, don't provoke, some listened and turned around, started writing sorry-ass lies to please the crowd. Then people said, your road is too rough, too stormy, perhaps you will be banned. Oh shit, I look around, am I the only one left? Fuck it, move on. So, if you want to make money, don't provoke. So if you want to, you know, make money from rap, hip hop, or whatever, you know, don't start causing shit. Don't start making arguments. Don't throw around all these diss tracks and shit like that. You know, just play the game. You know, carry on as you are. Some listened. You know, some were like, okay, that's cool. We'll do that. We'll try not to cause any friction. You know, we'll try and do this a decent way so we can actually make a living off what we're doing. And there are other ones who started writing sorry-ass lies just to please the crowd. You know, this is where a lot of diss tracks and shit come in, you know, like, let's take, for example, Machine Gun Kelly. You know, he has a habit of, well, it's not even a habit, he's got this obsession with dissing Eminem for some reason. And every single time he comes out on the bad end of it, because, let's face it, Machine Gun Kelly is an idiot. He can't sing, he can't rap, he can't play an instrument. He's an absolute waste of space, you know. And he's going after Eminem, who is widely regarded to be one of the best hip hop rappers around at the moment, you know. And you know, it's one of those things. Started writing sorry ass lies to please the crowd. So, you know, he started slagging. You know, these people start slagging off, you know, more famous people just to sort of get recognition. You know, just to sort of get the crowd to go, oh no, you didn't, sort of thing. You know, they just to get recognition, they start throwing shit around. You know, and you know, there are people that resort to that sort of pathetic level just to try and get famous. But he was more interested in actually doing it the right way, trying to actually be a decent musician. Then people said, your road is too rough, too stormy, perhaps you will be banned. You know, I don't know about this one, because, you know, the path you're taking is too rough. You know, it's a difficult road to get to where you're going, and hip-hop and rap is particularly difficult and quite dangerous, let's be honest. You know, the amount of violence involved in the hip-hop world is unreal. Perhaps you will be banned. That I'm not so sure about. You know, maybe your music is too risky, maybe people don't think it's good enough or whatever, you know, maybe they'll kick you out and say, right, we don't want you here because it's not the sort of thing that we want to represent. I don't know. And then he's gone, oh shit, I look around, am I the only one left? Fuck it, move on. So, you know, everybody was telling him, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, but everybody else who was trying to do it has fucked off and failed. And he's like, well, I'm the only one left, so I must be doing something, right? So I'm carrying on, basically. Too many haters passing by, they kept setting me back. They told me to follow their rules, even my soul was screaming. Hey, you are the only one left, lay down, don't sacrifice. But I still stand firmly on the ground with my head pointed at the sky. So many haters, again, passing by, kept setting him back, you know, trying to pull him down, trying to drag him down, telling him he can't do it, etc, etc, etc. They told me to follow their rules, even my soul was screaming. So I was told I had to do it this way, I had to do it that way, I had to adhere to their way of doing things, otherwise I wasn't going to get anywhere. And his soul was basically screaming at him, look, you're the only one that actually survived out of this whole group of people that, you know, that was surrounding you. You're the only person who made it. So, you know, don't lay down. Don't sacrifice your vision for what you want to do. Don't sacrifice your artistic vision for following these rules set by somebody else who doesn't really care about you. You know, just do your own shit. And he's saying, now I still stand firmly on the ground with my head pointed at the sky. So, you know, I'm standing proud and doing what I do because I know I can do it and I can do it well. I keep my focus undistracted, marching towards the summit. I never bothered to worry whether the surrounding was too noisy. Haters talk shit in his ears throughout the way, enough to drive a warrior insane. Fortunately, I have my niche. I am also deaf. So, he's saying, despite all these setbacks, despite all these people telling me I can't, I kept my focus, undistracted. I marched forward towards my goal. I wasn't going to let anybody pull me back. I wasn't going to listen to all these naysayers. I wasn't going to listen to all these people telling me what I should and should not be doing. I'm doing it my way. And, I'm carrying on. I don't care what other people are saying, and he says there, fortunately I have my niche. So he has a loyal group of fans and followers who like what he does. And he says, I am also deaf. So again, I'm ignoring all the negativity. I'm carrying on because I know what I'm doing. I like what I'm doing. And I have fans who like what I'm doing. So basically that. Then it goes back into that chorus. Continue to march on, march on, march on. I passed through the deepest valley of death. March on, march on. I swam between the teeth of a shark. I walked under a burning fire of the sun. I lived through the coldest winter, etc. Sarcasm and mockery, whatever. I couldn't hear a thing since day one. Threatening, what? Please repeat. All I can hear is the march on in my heart. Don't forget Beethoven composed Symphony No. 5 while he was deaf. I thought that was a really weird line to throw in there, but it's actually a really good one as well. So, sarcasm and mockery. What? You can mock me as much as you want. I couldn't hear a thing since day one. So, I've been ignoring all the naysayers. I've been ignoring all this negativity since the start. Threatening. What? Please repeat. It's like, are you trying to threaten me? Are you trying to make fun of me? Are you mocking me? Just say again, because I didn't quite catch that. All I can hear is the march in my heart. So, I can't hear all this bollocks you're saying to me. All I can hear is the drive and the determination that I feel to carry on with what I'm doing. And he's saying, don't forget Beethoven composed Symphony No. 5 when he was deaf, which is actually true. Beethoven was deaf. And he's saying, I'm completely ignoring the world around me. I'm just doing what I want to do. And, Beethoven couldn't hear all his naysayers, and I'm sure he had them in his day. And he wrote Symphony No. 5, which is an outstanding piece of music, So Beethoven wrote some of his best music while he couldn't hear, so carry on. Don't give up, though it's a lonely road, and never will be blessed. I will never to surrender. I will soon reach the summit. There's no time to whine. I can't feel my legs, but please believe the victory is near. The dove will bring miracle and light through the mist with an olive branch in its beak. So don't give up. It's a lonely road, and it will never be blessed. Is it getting to that level of fame that he wants to reach is difficult, and you will have a lot of people telling you can't do this, you can't do that. You'll have a lot of people slagging you off, and you will lose friends because, they turn around and, they see that you're getting famous, they see that you're making money off this, and they become parasites. They just constantly asking you for stuff. It's like, could you lend me this? Can I have some money? Can you do? And eventually you find out who your real friends are, and you will end up losing a fair few. And it will never be blessed. It will never be this perfect, beautiful image that you think it is. Being famous is very, very difficult. Touring is incredibly difficult. That sort of thing. So it's going to be a difficult road, but if it's what you really want, you continue to do it, you will get to it. I will never surrender. I will soon reach the summit. There's no time to whine. Excuse me. I can't feel my legs, but please believe victory is near. So again, it's a long, hard path, So by the end of it, you are going to be exhausted. By the time you get to where you want to be, you are going to be absolutely fucking knackered. But what you are after is really close. So don't give up. The dove will bring a miracle, light through the mist, an olive branch in its beak. Basically speaks for itself there. And I feel like I'm going to sneeze in a minute. Try and hold it back. It goes, therefore, I was interviewed by BBC, Al Jazeera and Time magazine, and I also got the Dalai Lama to feature in My and My song. I think that was a very bad translated line, but like I said, that's exactly how it was written on the video. Let me tell you, next time I will find Naz. Still don't trust me, but you gotta believe, because I still refuse to listen. So he's like, I got the Dalai Lama to feature on one of my songs. I'm not sure if that is actually true, but who knows? And he's been interviewed by all these big things like BBC, Time magazine and Al Jazeera. And he's saying, next time I'm going to get Nas on my track. Don't believe me? Just watch. And then Lil Nas comes in. Or Lil Nas? No, just Nas. Lil Nas is somebody else, I think. Anyway, he goes, "Ayo, this is Nas rocking with Dwagie. Ayo, forget the naysayers. We refuse to listen. Here we go. When I was just a young man, slung grams carry heaters." Now, slung grams carry heaters. I can only imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, but slung grams sounds like selling drugs, possibly. Carrying heaters, I believe, is carrying guns. They gave more pain than sunburn, suntans, blunts burn, gunman. Lost a boss too slick to ever be caught. You know, again, this is something I said earlier, and I mentioned it when I looked at Toy Soldiers by Eminem. There is a lot of inter-gang violence in the hip-hop/rap world. You know, and this is something I've covered before, because people say that heavy metal is a violent form of music, and the people who play and listen to heavy metal are inherently violent. But you will find in hip-hop and rap, the level of violence within that world is considerably higher than anything you will find in the metal world. Whilst there is indeed violence in the metal world, there is not nearly as much as in other forms of music. You know, hip-hop is notoriously bad for drive-by shootings, gangs, you know, popping caps in each other's asses, etc. There is a lot of violence in the hip-hop world. You know, he lost a boss too slick to ever be caught. So, you know, he had a friend or a boss, whatever, who was, you know, he was a top dog, he was a good man, and he was good at getting his way out of trouble, and even he got, basically. "In the hood I was good, at least that's what I thought. In the streets I'm taught to hide my emotions, conceal my intentions, and take precautions." So, again, you know, like, when he's out on the street, even if he's got beef with someone, just keep it to yourself, don't start anything, just try and live peacefully. You know, you don't want to get into that same situation. Exhaust pipes on Benzes, coffin black smoke. Devotion to rap, I wrote enough to capsize a large boat. Snakes grabbing at my throat and haters be storming. So snakes grabbing at my throat, you know, again, these sort of poisonous people that, again, are telling you you're not good enough, you can't do it, or these also parasitical people who are like, well, now that you're famous, can you give this to me? Can I have that? This, that, and the other sort of people. But my joy still comes in the morning. I had to listen and understand the power of words to see my potential to get what I deserve. They want me to self-destruct, but I just kept going. I saw the bigger picture and my concept was growing. Every dream is possible. No one can deny me. I'm on top. On the top is where you'll always find me. Nas. So, he's, you know, again, he's just basically saying that I was devoted to this life, you know, I loved rap, I was devoted to it, and I wrote a lot of material. You know, and despite my absolute love and adoration and, you know, the effort I put into doing this, there was still these people telling me I wasn't good enough. People, after everything, I've got people trying to put me down, this, that, and the other. And he's saying, you know, like, in the morning, I still find my joy. So it's like people can sit there and bitch and moan and try and put me down as much as they want, but I still love what I do. I wake up every morning happy because I am doing what I love doing, basically. It says I had to listen and understand the power of words to see my potential. So, you know, he had to understand how to use his words in order to get what he wanted. And, you know, rather than trying to piss people off with, like, diss tracks and shit like that, you know, use his words to elevate people, which is the best way to do things. You know, I'd never understood diss tracks in music. You know, it's pointless arguing, it's bickering, it's pathetic, it's childish. You know, music is a universal language that brings everybody together. You know, if someone says they don't listen to music, you cannot trust that person. But, you know, it's a universal language. You know, people all around the world are brought together by music. And we should be using music for that purpose, to bring people together. We shouldn't be using it for conflict. We have enough of that as it is. You know. He says they wanted me to self-destruct, but I kept going. So, you know, they wanted me to fail. They wanted me to fuck it up. But I just kept going because I like what I do. I love what I do. And I want to be the best at what I do. I saw the bigger picture. My concept was growing. Every dream is possible. No one can deny me. Again, this is what I was saying. You know, there are strong, powerful emotions being portrayed within the lyrics of this song. It just doesn't come through in the performance, which is really unfortunate. And then at the end it goes back into that chorus: continue to march on, march on, march on. I passed through the deepest valley of death. Continue to march on, march on, march on. I swam through the teeth of a shark. Continue to march on, march on, march on. I walked under the burning fire of the sun. Continue to march on, march on, march on. I lived through the coldest winter. So there you go. You know, so like I said, I like what the song is saying. I like what it's talking about. It's that perseverance. Like, don't let anybody drag you down. If you have a dream, you pursue that dream with all the vigour and intent that you have. You know, if you want it, you go get it. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let anybody pull you back. If someone tells you you can't do it, you just ignore that wanker. You carry on. You know, if someone tells you you're rubbish, you ignore that fucker. You carry on. You do you. You do what you want to do. And, you know, if it's something you love, you see that shit through to the end. You can do it. That's basically what the song is saying. You know, there is a lot of emotional power in that track. It just doesn't come through in the performance, which is unfortunate. And, you know, I don't even think it's... You know, I don't think it's anything to do with the fact it's sung in Taiwanese. I don't think that has anything to do with it. You know, even if this had been done in English or whatever, I still think it would have lacked that impact. You know, the meaning of the song is powerful, but you just don't get it in the performance, which is unfortunate. You know, and as far as hip-hop goes, I do enjoy listening to hip-hop from time to time. I do like myself a bit of rap, you know, a little bit of Snoop Dogg, a little bit of Eminem, you know, this, that and the other. You know, I do like listening to that. But this, I'm not so sure. But again, this is only one example of work. And I've always said I don't want to judge an artist just by one example of their work. This is something I've said over the past 6 years. I don't want to judge an artist by just one example. But while I like what the song's saying, the performance was very two-dimensional. It was pretty flat. You know, there wasn't much variation in the actual music itself, and you just couldn't feel the punch of the message of the song throughout the performance. So, you know, I don't know if this is a song I'd actually go back and listen to again. But, you know, I'm open to checking out more of the material just to get a more rounded idea of the artist. So anybody has any suggestion on that, please, by all means, let me know. Because, you know, there might be more impactful tracks. But unfortunately, this one's a bit flat, for me, at least. So, yeah. I don't really know what else I can say on that. So I will leave that as it is. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like or a subscribe if you haven't already, because it really, really would help me out. You know, I've been doing this for about 6 years now, and not even 3% of people watching my videos are actually subscribed, which is a bit disappointing. You know, because I put a lot of time and effort into what I do. I put a lot of research into what I do. You know, I search around for lyrics, you know, and some of them can be very difficult to find, just so we can have this discussion about what the song is about, which is something no other reaction channel I've ever looked at actually does. They just look at the song and go, yeah, I liked it, no I didn't, and that's that. You know, very few. I'm hard pressed to think of any channel that really talks about what the song is about, except maybe the Charismatic Voice, Elizabeth on Charismatic Voice. She occasionally talks about what the song's about, but again, it's only occasionally. You know, I think looking at the meanings of songs is something that gets grossly overlooked. You know, because people think that heavy metal is about violence, murder, sacrifice, blood, gore, and stuff like that. And while it is true for some songs, you know, I've got close to 900 videos on this channel. Almost all of them have some story or message that pertains to the real world, whether it is domestic violence, homelessness, drug abuse, mental health disorders, things like this. You know, a lot of them talk about real world issues. And people seem to miss that fact. All they hear is the loud growling, and they immediately assume it's something evil, bad, and horrible. And normally it's the furthest thing from the truth. And I wanted to try and dispel that by talking about what the song itself is about. And I thought that might be something that people found interesting. So, you know, that's why I do what I do the way I do it. You know, it's all very well looking at a song going, yeah, it's good and no, it's bad. But, you know, I like to investigate a little bit further and talk about the song, you know, and start up a dialogue, a conversation about what, you know, other people might perceive a song differently. They might think it's about something else. And I'm interested to hear that. You know, because I can't remember who it was. I think it was David Grohl. Dave Grohl said, you know, you can play a song to an arena of 50,000 people, and that crowd will sing it back to you for 50,000 different reasons, because they all perceive music slightly differently from the person next to them. Everybody has their own reason for their enjoyment of that piece of music. Everybody has their own perception of what that piece of music means to them. You know, and I think that's a perfect way to word it. And, you know, this is something I think needs to be talked about more, which is why I do it. But anyway, I'm just waffling on now. But, you know, if you could give it a like and subscribe, it would really, really help me out. You know, it takes a fraction of a second. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does make the biggest difference to me and the channel. But that's all I've got for you this time. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. 前进，穿越万丈深渊，一直前进，前进，前进。